The moment I realized I was caught between two billionaires. Picture this. I am standing in the middle of a luxurious rooftop party in Miami, the ocean breeze blowing through my hair, a glass of champagne in my hand. On my left is Alexander, the billionaire I had been dating for 4 months. On my right is his best friend Marcus, another billionaire, looking at me with eyes that say he wants me just as much as Alexander does. Both of them are smiling at me like everything is normal. But in that moment, I realize I am trapped in the middle of a dangerous love triangle with two of the most powerful men in the city. And neither of them knows that I know the other one wants me too. How did a regular girl who simply decided she wanted to date a billionaire end up stuck between two of them? Grab a drink, sit comfortably, hit that like button if you are already hooked, and subscribe if you love real messy love stories. Let me take you back to the beginning so you can see exactly how my plan to date one billionaire turned into the most complicated situation of my life. My name is Sophia. I am 27, and I work as a marketing coordinator in Miami. After years of average relationships that went nowhere, I made a decision. I wanted to date a billionaire. Not just for the money but for the lifestyle, the ambition, and the feeling of being with someone who had already won at life. I told my friends about my plan one night. They laughed at first, but then helped me create a strategy. Premium dating apps, high-end charity events, exclusive tech and business conferences, and private parties where wealthy men actually showed up. I updated my wardrobe, took new photos, and started showing up with confidence. The first few months were tough. I went to many events and met several rich men, but most were either much older, married, or not my type. I started doubting myself. Was this plan stupid? Was I chasing something unrealistic? But I kept going. Then the first met Alexander. It happened at a luxury charity gala for ocean conservation. I was there networking when he approached me. Tall, charming, early 30s, with sharp features and an easy smile. He was the CEO of a major shipping and logistics company. We talked for almost an hour that night. He was intelligent, funny, and surprisingly down to earth. He asked for my number before the night ended. Our first date was incredible. He took me to a beautiful waterfront restaurant. We talked for hours, and I felt real chemistry. Within a few weeks, we were officially dating. He was generous but not flashy. He opened doors for me, remembered small details, and made me feel special. For the first time, I thought my plan had actually worked. After 2 months of dating, Alexander invited me to a private dinner party at his best friend's mansion. That is where I met Marcus. Marcus was also a billionaire, but in a completely different way. He built his fortune in real estate and tech investments. He was equally attractive, a bit more intense, with dark hair and piercing eyes. When Alexander introduced us, Marcus held my hand a second longer than necessary. "Nice to finally meet the woman who has my friend smiling like an idiot," he said with a charming grin. That night, Marcus and I talked quite a bit while Alexander was caught up in business conversations. Marcus was attentive, asked deep questions about my career and dreams, and made me laugh easily. I thought nothing of it at the time. He was just being friendly. But then the messages started. A few days later, Marcus texted me. He had gotten my number from Alexander under the excuse of wanting to invite us both to another event. At first, the texts were innocent. Group plans. Jokes about the party. But slowly they became more personal. He started asking how my day was when Alexander was traveling. He would send articles he thought I would like. He even invited me to lunch one day, saying it would be good for me to have more friends in his circle. I did not reply to the more personal messages. I kept things polite and distant. But the attention felt exciting, dangerous. Alexander, meanwhile, was still wonderful. We went on beautiful dates. He took me on his yacht for sunset cruises. He introduced me to more of his world. I genuinely liked him. But Marcus's messages created a quiet tension I could not ignore. The first real twist came at another charity event 2 weeks later. Alexander had to step away for a phone call. Marcus found me on the terrace. "You know," he said quietly, "Alexander is my best friend, but I have not stopped thinking about you since the night we met." I froze. My heart started racing. Before I could respond, Alexander returned. Marcus switched back to his friendly mode instantly. From that moment, I was officially stuck in the middle of a billionaire love triangle. Alexander was courting me openly. Marcus was pursuing me secretly. And I was caught between two powerful, attractive men who both wanted me. The situation became even more complicated when both of them started planning trips and events around the same time. I had to be careful not to mix up their schedules. I started feeling guilty, excited, and completely overwhelmed all at once. Little did I know the tension was about to explode in the worst possible way. The secret messages and the almost discovery. The rooftop party moment where I stood between Alexander and Marcus was not the beginning of the chaos. It was the point where everything became impossible to ignore. From that night forward, I was living in a secret billionaire love triangle, dating one man openly while his best friend pursued me behind the scenes. And the worst part was that I was starting to feel something for both of them. Let me take you deeper into how conflicted I became. After Marcus confessed his feelings on the terrace, I told him firmly that I was with Alexander and happy. I asked him to stop. He apologized, and for a few days the messages stopped. During that time, I focused completely on Alexander. We had a magical weekend on his yacht. He was romantic, attentive, and made me feel safe and cherished. I genuinely cared about him deeply. He was stable, successful, and treated me with real respect. But Marcus kept appearing in my thoughts. A few days later, while Alexander was in New York for business, Marcus texted me again. At first I ignored it. Then another message came. And another. Eventually I replied. What started as a polite conversation slowly turned into something more personal. He asked about my dreams, my fears, and the kind of life I really wanted. He listened in a way that felt different from Alexander. More intense. More curious about me. I told my best friend Mia about the messages during one of our evening walks. I don't understand what's happening, I said. I really like Alexander. He's kind and generous and we have something real. But when Marcus texts me, I feel excited, nervous, almost guilty for even feeling this way. Mia's eyes widened. Sophia, you're playing with fire. Two billionaires? Best friends? This is going to explode. I know, I admitted. But Marcus makes me feel seen in a different way. Like he actually understands the pressure I put on myself. Alexander makes me feel safe. But Marcus makes me feel alive. The guilt ate at me every day. I was falling for Alexander's stability, but Marcus's attention awakened something passionate and curious inside me. I hated myself for not shutting it down completely, but I also couldn't stop replying. The first real dramatic twist happened at the private art gallery opening. Alexander had stepped away for a phone call when Marcus found me alone in a quiet corner. I can't stop thinking about you, he said softly, his eyes locked on mine. Alexander is my best friend, but there's something between us. Tell me you don't feel it too. My heart was racing. I did feel it. The chemistry was undeniable. But I whispered, this can't happen. I'm with Alexander. Even as I said the words, part of me wanted him to keep trying. When Alexander returned and put his arm around me, I felt torn in two. Happy to be claimed by one man, but secretly thrilled by the desire of the other. The situation became even more complicated as both men unknowingly competed for my attention. Alexander planned romantic weekends. Marcus sent thoughtful messages and career opportunities. I was exhausted from keeping their worlds separate, but I also felt desired in a way I had never experienced before. Then came the night I almost got caught. Alexander surprised me by coming home early from his trip. He walked into my apartment with flowers while I was in the bedroom changing. My phone was on the kitchen counter. When I came out, Alexander was holding it, Marcus's latest voice message playing on speaker. I keep thinking about that moment on the terrace. I know it's wrong. But I want you, Sophia. The look on Alexander's face broke something inside me. Hurt, confusion, betrayal. What the hell is this? He asked quietly. I panicked. I tried to explain that I never encouraged Marcus, that I had told him to stop. But deep down I knew I had not shut the door completely. I had enjoyed the attention. I had let the conversations continue. Alexander left that night without kissing me goodbye. He said he needed time to think. That evening I called Mia in tears. I think I'm falling for both of them, I confessed. Alexander makes me feel secure and loved. Marcus makes me feel excited and desired. I hate myself for this. What kind of person am I becoming? Mia sighed. You're human, Sophia. But you need to choose. This love triangle is going to destroy someone. Probably you. The guilt, the excitement, the confusion, and the fear mixed together into an emotional storm I could barely handle. I was dating one billionaire while secretly developing real feelings for his best friend. And both of them were powerful, attractive men who were used to getting what they wanted. The love triangle was no longer just secret messages. It was becoming dangerously real. The rooftop party and my worst mistake. That night after Alexander left my apartment without kissing me goodbye, I felt completely broken. I sat on the floor crying for what felt like hours. The guilt was crushing. I had hurt a good man who had treated me with respect and care. At the same time, I could not stop thinking about Marcus and the way his words made my heart race. I felt disgusted with myself, but I also felt alive in a way I had never experienced before. I knew Mia was right, but I did not listen. Instead, I kept replying to Marcus. Not every day, but enough to keep the door open. He was understanding about the situation with Alexander. He said he did not want to pressure me, but that his feelings were real and growing stronger. Alexander, meanwhile, slowly started speaking to me again. He said he still cared about me deeply but needed time to trust me again. I apologized repeatedly and promised I had cut contact with Marcus. That was a lie. The weeks that followed were an emotional roller coaster. Some days I felt deeply connected to Alexander. We went back to sweet dates and quiet evenings that reminded me why I fell for him. Other days Marcus's messages would come through, and I would feel that rush of excitement again. I was exhausted from living two different realities. I kept asking myself the same painful questions. Am I a terrible person? Am I addicted to the attention? Can I really love two men at the same time? Then Alexander invited me to an exclusive rooftop party. He said it would be good for us to spend time together in public and try to move forward. I agreed, hoping it would help me finally choose. The night of the party was beautiful. The Miami skyline stretched out below us, music played softly, and the ocean breeze felt perfect. The moment we arrived, I saw Marcus. Alexander had invited his best friend without telling me. My stomach dropped. Throughout the evening, the tension was unbearable. Alexander was extra affectionate, keeping his arm around me and introducing me to everyone as his girlfriend. Marcus watched us with intense eyes. Every time Alexander stepped away, Marcus found me. His words became bolder. I can't pretend anymore, he whispered during one moment alone. I'm in love with you, Sophia. I'm willing to fight for you if you feel the same. My heart was pounding. I felt desired by two incredible men. It was intoxicating and terrifying at the same time. In a moment of complete stupidity and weakness, I did something I still regret to this day. While Alexander was across the rooftop talking to business partners, I let Marcus pull me into a quiet corner. Instead of walking away, I stayed. When he leaned in and kissed me softly, I did not stop him right away. I kissed him back for a few seconds. It was passionate and full of everything I had been suppressing. When I finally pulled away, guilt hit me like a wave. At that exact moment, Alexander turned around and saw us. The look on his face will haunt me forever. Hurt, betrayal, disbelief. Marcus stepped back immediately, but the damage was done. Alexander walked over, his hands clenched at his sides. So this is what has been happening behind my back? He said, his voice shaking with anger and pain. My own best friend? Marcus looked at him with real emotion. I tried to fight it, Alexander, but I love her. I'm sorry, but I can't ignore this anymore. You have to understand me. Alexander turned to me, his eyes filled with tears he was trying to hold back. And you? After everything? After I gave you another chance? I stood there crying, unable to give either of them a good answer. I had just kissed one man while dating the other, right in front of him. It was selfish, weak, and cruel. I felt disgusted with my own actions, but I could not deny the intense chemistry I had with both of them. The two best friends stood facing each other with raw pain and anger. Both of them told me, in front of each other, that they had strong, serious feelings for me and were willing to fight for a future together. Their friendship of 15 years was cracking right in front of me, and I was the reason. I felt completely overwhelmed. The guilt, the excitement, the shame, and the confusion mixed together into a storm I could barely stand in. That night, I left the party alone. Both men texted me later. Alexander said he was heartbroken but still loves me. Marcus said he would wait if I chose him. Now I am left with nothing but heavy questions that follow me everywhere. How did my simple plan to date one billionaire turn into destroying two men's hearts and their friendship? Am I capable of real love, or do I just crave being wanted? Can any of us recover from this kind of betrayal and pain? The passion I have with Marcus is something completely captivating. I feel like I have no control over it at all. Will I ever forgive myself for what I did on that rooftop? I still have not made a choice. I am stuck between two incredible men who both want me, and I have no idea what will happen next. Hope you liked this emotional story. If you watched until the very end, thank you. Hit subscribe for more messy dating stories. I truly appreciate you being here with me.